I would like to clarify certain doubts that you have regarding the accumulations of merits. There are 8 places when rebirth takes place. Those living beings are not capable enough or not fortunate enough to accumulate merits. There are 8 places. So I am going to explain these 8 places where rebirth takes place according to their own karma. Tayo apaya. 3 woeful states or unfortunate state of existence as hell, animal kingdom and ghost world. Ghost and spirits, you see. When rebirth takes place in any of these 3 places, there is no chance for those living beings to even to think about meritorious deeds or religion, because their life is miserable, suffering physically and mentally, and no peace. So, utter wastage because of their own bad deeds or bad karma. Rebirth has taken place in such unfortunate state, and that their destiny also very uncertain. Destiny means, from the Buddhist point of view, sufferings in hell or animal kingdoms or ghost worlds is not eternal. There is a time limit. So after that period, and very difficult to understand where rebirth takes place again. I think you have heard, although rebirth takes place in certain unfortunate state, still they have in their storehouse of consciousness certain good and bad karmas, dormant, inactive, no chance to affect. And some of those karmas again condition or produce the next life. But during that period, they have no chance to accumulate fresh merit. Those 3 regarded as one unfortunate state. Then the second one is arupa, arupa loka. Rupaloka, Arupaloka, in Brahma realm or Brahma world. Life exists without the formations of any physical body. Arupa means no rupa, no formation. Rupa is a Pali word, is very meaningful. The definitions of this word, rupa, matter, also we introduce as rupa. Rupang rupana lakkana. The nature of rupa is such that can be affected by wind, heat, rain and various other forces. Hunger, thirst, that object is called rupa. Changes take place, decay take place because of these forces. So all these living beings, plants and any object that which exists, all are belong to this rupa. So here in this particular Brahma world, there is no Rupa, but life is there. These are the things that we cannot understand simply by using our normal way of thinking. Our worldly knowledge cannot give the answer. Those who develop their meditation through jhana or samatha go on developing and developing and developing by analyzing this physical body and loathsomeness, futility, impermanency, uselessness, by considering the ill of physical body, pain, disturbances, burdens, troubles, then what will happen? Through this meditation, they completely detach their craving for physical body. That means they don't like physical body anymore. Now what will happen? If they have developed their mind through the jhanic power, after their death, rebirth takes place in one of those formless Brahma realms. There are four Brahma realms, where living beings exist without the physical body, but life is there. So if rebirth takes place in one of those four Brahma realms, there is no chance for those living beings to accumulate karma anymore during their stay in that particular realm. There they can spend thousands or millions of years. And the belief in India at that time was that that is the final God, that is moksha, that is nirvana. The Buddha is the teacher who pointed out this is not the final God. Still, there are certain mental defilement, mental impurities in their mind. Therefore, there is no final God. So, after that again, rebirth takes place. But they have no chance to accumulate fresh karma. Then the next one is, when the life exists in certain other planes or other planets, those days people could not understand that there are some living beings in other planets in different forms, not like human beings. When rebirth takes place in one of those planets, there are also those living beings have no chance to perform any meritorious deed, also wastage. Even modern astronomers and scientists also agree, although they have not seen yet, that definitely there are some living beings in certain planets. Then the next one is Panchindriyanam Vivekalyam, five senses. Now as human beings, when all the senses are out of order, cannot see, cannot hear, cannot smell anything, cannot taste, and no sensation or feeling. All the senses are out of order. And those unfortunate human beings also experience the difficulty of performing meritorious deeds, because rebirth has taken place according to their own karma. So no chance of accumulating merits. Next one, Micchaditthicha darunam. Micchaditti. I think you can understand the meaning of this word. Miccha means wrong. Ditti means views, belief. Those who maintain wrong belief, wrong concept, they do not consider good and bad deeds seriously, morals and immorals, good and bad karmas, and meaning of life. To them there is no meaning at all. I have explained that there are 10 kinds of wrong concept or wrong belief that many people uphold. They maintain some of them, if not all. If they hold such views, it is impossible for them to perform meritorious deeds. Can you mention some of those names that I have explained earlier? There are 10 altogether. Natti dinnam, natti yittang, natti utang, natti sukata dukkatang kammanang phalang vipako, natti ayang loko, natti paraloko, natti mata, natti pita, natti loke, satta opapatika, natti loke samana brahmana gata patipanna. 10. Wrong belief. In brief, because I have explained some times ago, I can repeat. Just now Mr. Boone mentioned about dana. Here, first 3 items talk about dana. Offering, or giving, or contributing, or donating something for the benefit of others. Many people never appreciate, never practice, never encourage, but they condemn. That is a wrong belief. They ask, why should we give? What for? Let them work and find out their own living. We are not responsible for them. The same thing, some people organize in a grand scale, like offering big dana, inviting many people. Recently you have entertained old folks and children from orphanages and various other places, or invite the monks or beggars, you offer. And these people say, why should we feed them? Why should we contribute? It is not our duty. And some others approach them, visit, like old folks' home, orphanages, hospitals, and certain other places, and distribute. Then the critics say, why should we contribute? Why should we donate for them? All these 3 beliefs are wrong beliefs. Such people cannot perform meritorious deeds because of their wrong views. Natti sukata dukkatang kammanang phalang vipako. This is more dangerous. Those who believe that there are no good effect for good deeds, no bad effect for bad deeds, no good karma or bad karma. We can do anything whatever we like for our living, for our enjoyment. Don't worry about morals or religious way of life or karma. They also cannot perform meritorious deeds. Natti ayam loko, natti paraloko. Hereafter or after our death, there is no another world for our life to exist. That means no more rebirth. This is the only life, and also we never had previous existence. This is the only life. Therefore, we must enjoy as much as possible without wasting our life. This is the only life. That means they can do anything. To them there is no difference between cruelty and kindness, honesty and cunningness. There is no difference. They can do anything, whatever they like, because of such belief. Natti mata, natti pita, father and mother. Religion and our tradition or our way of life teach us to look after, to attend to our father and mother without allowing them to suffer, minister them, support them. This is one of the humane qualities. But others say, why should we support them? We are not responsible for them. Why should we respect them? They are also ordinary human beings. So there is no reason for us to discriminate. This person is my father, this person is my mother, and others are not belong to me. All are equal. There is no difference. So this belief is spreading all over the world now. When father and mothers grow old, young children, married children, young boys and girls don't like to stay with their father and mother. To them, their existence is real nuisance. So they send them to old folks' home, at least something without killing them, destroying them. So those who maintain such belief are not. Now when you study Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism and all the other existing religions in this world, every religion teaches you must look after, you must attend to your father and mother as your duty. The Buddha emphasized this very strongly, advising young people to attend to their father and mother. In Christianity also, in Islam, when Prophet Muhammad was asked, where is the heaven, by his daughter, Muhammad said, heaven is at the feet of your father and mother. That means those who respect, those who look after their father and mother can go to heaven. And Hinduism also very strongly advised people to attend to their father and mother. That ethics and morals, and Chinese philosopher Confucius emphasized this very strongly as filial piety, how to respect the father and mothers and elders. Then Natti loke samana brahmana samaggata patipanna. There are no such people in this world as religious people who lead a holy life or religious life, who can understand the nature of life, the nature of this world, the nature of the next world, next existence. There are no such people. So why should we respect some people as holy people or religious people? Those who hold such belief also have no chance to lead the religious life because of their wrong concept. And the last item is a little bit controversial, and we experience the difficulty of understanding. Those who deny the existence of a spontaneous living being, that means living beings come into existence without father or mother. Suddenly they appear, they exist, again they disappear. This is called spontaneous. Devas, A spirit, ghost, Brahmas, they have no father, no mother. Just appear, they remain for a long period and again disappear. Since we cannot understand how they appear, how they exist, we don't believe this. So better to keep this item in the waiting list until we realize. But don't deny, don't say it is rubbish or we cannot believe. Yes, we cannot believe because we cannot understand. These are the 10 kind of wrong beliefs. If we maintain some of those wrong beliefs, we have no chance to lead a pure religious life. We have no chance to accumulate merit. I think you know the meaning of merit. Merit, we always talk about merit. Especially Buddhism and Hinduism, these two religions talk about merit, karma. Why karma is needed? Why do we need karma? To attain nirvana, our final goal, karma cannot do anything. Remember this. We can go on accumulating more and more karma, good karma. But these good karmas cannot take us to nirvana. But can take us to heaven. But heaven is not the final goal. If we want to enjoy worldly life for a certain period or long period, yes, these karmas are very useful for us. That is why people are crazy for karma, meritorious deeds. They believe they can gain everything what they want very easily, even without working for it. There are food and clothing and houses and requisites and enjoyments, long life, good health, through the influence of merit. It is true. It is true. But that is not the ultimate aim, the purpose of our life. The merits we accumulate or spend. If we do not accumulate again, what will happen to us? Nobody knows. This is the uncertain. That means again and again, life after life, we have to accumulate merit. Since there is no end, since life is uncertain, mind is uncertain, there is no aim. Therefore we should not depend on karma for us to find out our final salvation or liberation. That is what the Buddha had said. When he was practicing meditation, austerity, even without taking food, Mara suddenly appeared and advised him, why do you want to suffer? You are a prince, you are a young man, you have a kingdom. Why not you go back? Enjoy your life. You can rule the country. At the same time, you also can accrue a lot of merits. Mara says. Then the Buddha is not the Buddha, Buddha to be, not yet attain Buddhahood. He said, Anumattena pi punyena attho maihang navijjati. Punya, merit. He said, even a little bit of merits also not very important to me. I am not working to gain merit. I cannot gain my enlightenment through the influence of merits. I cannot experience Nibbanic bliss through the influence of merits. Merits can produce worldly pleasure, worldly needs, worldly satisfaction, means to an end. Remember this. That is what the Buddha said. Anumattena pi punyena, even a little bit of merit. Attho mahihang navijjati, no use of. I am working for the enlightenment. Then what is the important aspect for that? Not the merits. Mental development, knowledge, mental purity. Now these are the requisites. Important requisite for a person to gain enlightenment, to attain or to experience Nibbanic bliss. Purity, development and knowledge. Without maintaining purity, development and knowledge, we can accumulate a lot of merits. You understand? We can perform all sorts of meritorious deeds. We gain merit, we create good karma, we experience worldly pleasure, but we never gain the aim, the purpose, the final goal of the liberation through these merits. So, meritorious deeds are important for our expenses. Since the mental impurities or the passions, if not kilesas, are very strong in our mind, deeply rooted, we experience the difficulty of uprooting them, eradicating them. You can understand them. Very easily you can understand this. One who is jealous, he knows this is wrong, but cannot get rid of this. It is so strong in the mind. Because of this jealousy, this person creates enormous bad karma. Another person is very hot-tempered. One word is enough to irritate and disturb, provoke him. And he behaves like a devil at that time because of his anger. He knows it is his weakness, but he cannot get rid of it. Another person is very stingy, doesn't want to contribute, give anything. Although he can understand that his attitude is wrong, he cannot change it. That is what I told you. These mental impurities are very strong, which prevails in our mind and very deeply rooted into the mind. So, it is not so easy for us to uproot, take out these things. Then, merits are important for us, for our expenses, not to suffer. When rebirth takes place, for us to gain what we need. If If we cannot gain what we need as our requisite for our survival, then we make mistakes. Then we start bluffing, swindling, cheating, robbing, then cruelty. If we can gain what we need, if we can satisfy with our life, we can reduce lot of bad deeds that we commit because of our merits, good merits. So merits are important for us to maintain, to carry on this way of life without committing bad things and carry on smoothly until we reach our final goal. While enjoying our life, while experiencing worldly pleasure, going on reducing, calming our senses, then we have to cultivate our mind, we have to purify the mind, we have to develop our knowledge and understanding. Without doing these three things, whatever merits we perform, we never reach the final goal. And now you can understand the merit. So here, those who are born in such unfortunate states are not capable enough or not fortunate enough to accumulate the merit for their future life, the next existence. So the next existence also can become unfortunate one, since they had no chance to accumulate some good merits. So this is a warning for all of us to understand, to handle our life with care, not to misuse, not to abuse our human life. If you do that, what will happen? Rebirth can take place in one of those places. And again, those who develop their mind through their meditation by adopting that particular mental track, rebirth can take place in Brahma realm, formless world, where they have no chance to accumulate any good karma. And again, rebirth can take place also wastage. See, you can understand, when the Buddha was born, his father, King Suddhodana, invited some wise people to his palace, isn't it? Asked them to predict according to their astrology and knowledge and this and that. And one of them was a meditator who developed this jhana meditation, who can read, who can understand others' minds and everything. So this wise man, Kaladeva, having seen this baby, observed very carefully. He laughed, then cried. You know the story. Then the father, the Buddha's father, asked why. At first you laughed, then you cried. I cannot understand. And then he said, I laughed because I knew that this child become a great religious teacher in this world. The happiness which appeared in my mind rose my happiness. Then I had to cry because I'm an old man. Few more years for me to live. According to my religious way of life and meditation, after my death, rebirth takes place in one of these Brahma worlds. And I have no chance to contact this great religious teacher. I missed the chance. That is why I cried. Then the next item is Apat Bhavo Buddhassa. The Buddha's are very rare, not so easy to see a real Buddha. According to our way of thinking, by using our worldly mind, we create Buddhas from time to time. Those Buddhas were created by the human mind, by the followers. There are so many new Buddhas for the last 2,500 years. When you study the history of Buddhism, you can see how many Buddhas appear according to their name. But those Buddhas may appear on this earth. Again the Buddha says, Buddhas never appear in any other world cycle, in any other planet or where the living beings exist. Only among human beings. Remember this. Manussattam linga sampatti hetu satthara dassanam pabbajja guna sampatti adhikaroja chandata. The qualities of a person who is going to become a Buddha. The first quality must be a human being, manusatta. That person must be a human being. A god, a deva, a brahma also cannot become a Buddha. So the Buddhas may appear in any other part of the world system. Again people introduce that the Buddhas in our country is more advanced than your old Buddhas. They say your Buddha is 2,500 years old. He has no teeth also. Our Buddha is a new Buddha, very powerful, very dynamic, got electronic power also. So people accept this new Buddha is more powerful. That is how they use worldly knowledge, worldly way of thinking to introduce Buddha, to create Buddhas in this world, according to their worldly mind. In the Buddha's teaching you can find within one world cycle. One world cycle means from the beginning up to the end of this particular planet, this one. All these planets and galaxies and suns and moons that appear in this universe appears, remains, decay, disappear. It's a cycle, period for everything. It is natural. Then, within one world cycle, during certain world cycle, even single Buddha may appear. Because no one can create a Buddha. No one can produce a Buddha. No one can send a Buddha to this world. There is no such thing. We had to work by cultivating our way of life, our knowledge, our understanding, our morals, our precepts, our wisdom and purity, until we reach the final goal, gain wisdom, enlightenment. That is why the Buddhas are very rare. Now here in this world, when you observe very carefully, you can see what is happening. How human beings behave. Are they working to become Buddhas or doing something else? Even in so-called Buddhist countries, how they behave, how they slaughter human beings, their own brothers, bloodshed all over the world. In Buddhist countries also, do they follow the Buddha's teaching? Are they working to become Buddha? Then how can we expect Buddha to appear every now and then? So, within certain world cycle, not even one Buddha, that means not ready yet. But he says, after mentioning the names of 28, the previous Buddhas, he said, we are very fortunate, those who are existing within this world cycle. 4 Buddhas already appeared. From time to time, Kakusanda, Konagama, Kasyapa, Gautama, Sakyamuni. 4. Last Buddha was the Sakyamuni. Then what will happen? The teachings or the dispensation of the Buddha slowly fade away. Fade away means people neglect. People do not take seriously. Their minds become worldly minded. They are crazy for worldly pleasure, not for the spiritual development, not for the purity, not for the noble way of life. Then cunningness, crookedness, selfishness, jealousy, anger, hatred, all the evil forces started to prevail, occupy their mind. That means the teachings of the Buddha disappear from the man's mind. The teachings exist, dharma exists, no one can destroy the dharma, but people cannot understand, people misinterpret, mislead, abuse and forget. So if there is no chance for us to exist within that period when a supreme enlightened Buddha, not the Buddha created by human beings, a supreme enlightened Buddha, during that period we get the chance to listen to this Buddha, to follow his advice, to mold our way of life, to be religious, to be noble, to find out our salvation and liberation. Why Buddha is needed? I can give one example. There are 6 extraordinary characteristics in the Buddha where you cannot find in any other religious teacher or great teacher in this world. Only in the Buddha. So one of them is Asayanusaya Jnana. Jnana is knowledge. The knowledge that he gained through his enlightenment to understand. When he is going to preach or going to talk, for him to understand who this person is, how far he can understand what he talks, and what are the hindrances in his mind at this moment, what are the difficulties for him to understand this, how far he has cultivated his mind during his previous birth. Buddha is the only teacher who can understand this. So by considering, observing all this background and the mentality, then he taught, he preached. That is why even after listening 1 or 2 words, some people have attained sainthood, arahanthood on the spot because of that. He preached by knowing their mentality, knowledge, understanding and background. The Buddha is important for us. But when we preach, just we express some ideas and views, but we do not know whether you can digest, whether you can understand, whether you appreciate, whether you need. This is the problem. So, today means now more than 2,500 years. Another Buddha not yet appear, although people create Buddhas from time to time. So according to the prediction made by the Buddha before his passing away, in Mahaparinibbana Sutra, you can see, no more teacher for us. Who is going to guide us? Who is going to advise us? Who is going to correct us when we are wrong? Then the Buddha said, Ananda, I cannot appoint another person as a Buddha. It is impossible. A doctor cannot appoint his son to become a doctor. A lawyer cannot appoint his son to become a lawyer unless they study. This is more than enough for you to understand why the Buddha did not appoint another Buddha. Impossible. He said, regard my Dhamma, my teaching, as your master, your teacher. Concentrate, follow. Then he said, Yava kivancha subhadda bhikkhu samma vihareyung asunyo loko arahante yatsa Mahaparinibbana Sutta. He said, as long as my disciples follow my teaching properly, always Arahantas exist in this world. Never become empty of Arahantas in this world. So if there are no Arahantas or saint or holy saint in this world, it is due to our own weakness. Remember this. Nothing wrong with the Buddha, nothing wrong with Buddhism, because of our weaknesses. Just because we do not follow his teaching correctly, we could not attain sainthood or arahanthood. That is what the Buddha says. That means there is no time limit. No one can say, within this period people cannot become arahanthood. We cannot say, according to the Buddha. If we really follow his teaching, there is no difficulty for us to become an arahant. So this is our human weaknesses. So we have a lot of obstructions and hindrances to get rid of our weaknesses. That is why still we are struggling here. So, although the Buddha does not exist in physical form, dispensations of the Buddha, the message given by the Buddha, and all the great qualities, knowledge, virtues, wisdom introduced by the Buddha through his enlightenment still exist, not yet disappear. So we can regard the Buddha still exists. That is why we recite Buddham Saranam Gacchami, I take refuge in the Buddha. We regard the Buddha exists today. So this gives us confidence for us to maintain our religious way of life. So if we cannot develop this confidence that the dispensations of the Buddha still exist, then we have no chance to lead a religious life and to perform meritoriously. The last one is Saddhamma Matadaya. Saddharma. Dharma, Manushya Dharma, Deva Dharma, Buddha Dharma, Saddharma. See how many kinds of dharmas there are. Here we are talking about Saddharma. What is Saddharma? If not, what is Dharma? Dharma means natural occurrence, anything. That is Dharma. Not belong to any religion. A religion cannot produce this. A religion cannot change this. A religion cannot stop this. This is Dharma. Now we are getting old. Is there any religion which can stop this? That is Dharma. No one can stop this. That is Dharma. One day definitely we have to face our death, whether we like or not. No one can stop it. That is dharma. Everything exists that in this world. It's going on changing. No one can stop this. That is dharma. Our mind is changing, our body is changing, atmosphere and the world and the earth and space, planets, everything going on changing. That is dharma. There is no God, there is no devil behind all these things. All these are natural occurrences. That is dharma. If I scold you, if I beat you, you also scold me or beat me. That is dharma. It is natural. Not created by anybody. Then what is Saddharma here? Saddharma is related to moral causality. That means by realizing, understanding the real nature of morals and immorals, but those occurrences have nothing to do with morals or immorals. Natural occurrences. Now we have come to morals and immorals. Good and bad. Our word. Good and bad, our own word. By realizing that these things are harmful, dangerous, painful, create suffering, we try to avoid, not to do. That is Saddharma. By realizing our kindness, compassion, honesty, sincerity, cooperation, harmony are very useful for us to maintain a peaceful, happy, contented life. We follow this. That is Saddharma. By realizing this life is uncertain, this life is impermanent, everything that exists in this world is impermanent and create problem, unsatisfactoriness in the end, then we try to change our mental attitude to face these challenges. That is called understanding of Saddharma. We have worries and troubles and problems and difficulties in the society, at home, everywhere. Then we analyze. We try to understand what are the causes. Why people behave like this? And we realize this is because of their craving. Craving creates jealousy. Jealousy creates anger. Anger develops hatred. Hatred creates violence. Violence, bloodshed. We realize who is the culprit. Then we try to change our way of life by realizing this. That is Saddharma. Here the last item is, if you do not know how to appreciate, to understand, to follow Saddharma, the real Dhamma, taught by the Buddha, his teaching is called Saddharma because of this. Then there is no difficulty for us to accumulate merits, and we know the nature of merits also. We know the weaknesses of merits also. We know how to go beyond these merits. That is Saddharma. Here, these are the 8 occasions or places where we experience the difficulty of performing meritorious deeds. So what are those 8 places? You try. First one is hell, animal, world, and ghost or spirit as one. Next one, formless world, Brahma world, where life exists there, we cannot do any meritorious deed. Next one, when the life exists in certain other world system where there are no religious way of life or morals or nobles and ethics, just exist, just like certain other animals. No chance. Next one, Pancindriyanam Vekalyam, 5 senses. If our senses are out of order, not functioning properly, we have no chance to produce or create, perform meritorious deeds. Next one, Micchaditti. Just now I mentioned 10 kind of wrong views. If we maintain such wrong belief, we neglect our religious or noble way of life, and after that we cannot see any difference between humans and animals. Next one, Apatubhava Buddhasta. That if there is no a supreme enlightened Buddha or the dispensations of the Buddha to influence our mind to gain confidence and devotion, inspiration to lead a religious way of life, then we have no chance to to perform religious way of life or the merit. The last one is, if there is no chance for us to learn Saddharma, the real Dharma taught by the Buddha, to adjust our way of life, to get rid of our wrong concepts and beliefs and practices, to understand reality in life. Then these are the 8 places where we experience the difficulty of performing meritorious deeds. Akasattha Buddha Deva Naga Mahiddhika Punyam Tang Anumoditva Chirang Rakhamtu Loka Sasanang Ittavatatyam Hehi Sambratang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabba Sampatti Siddhya Dango Nyati Nanghotu Sukita Huntu Nyatayo Imina Punya Kammena Mame Bala Samagamo Satang Samagamo Hotu Yava Nibbana Pattiya.